Hello and welcome to another video from the woods, from the forest here in Norway. I haven't done any intro like that before. Let me know if you liked it. We have company today. Muater from the Norwegian Uyghur committee has joined us, and we're going to talk about something that is not only serious, but it affects us all. And yeah, we're going to get into that. But first of all, I asked you on the way up here,
yes,
can I use your name? Can I even use your image in the video because of safety reasons?
I'm an activist, so I am totally okay with using my name and my face. I think it's important, actually.
It's very brave of you, I must say. I made one note here just to start with before we get into the matter. And just to make this clear, it says, when we use the word China or Chinese, we're not talking about Chinese people in general. We're not talking about China. We are talking about the people in power in China. But instead of saying like the Chinese Communist Party or the people in power, we will be talking about China, the Chinese. I am aware that might sound a little bit off to some people, especially Chinese people, and I'm sorry about that, but you know, here comes the smoke. Can you tell me a little bit about your background?
Sure.
I'm sorry about that. We had to relocate because of the smoke. You know how it is in my videos. The smoke is always an issue, but okay.
Yes, my name is Muater and I'm a Uyghur. I was born in East Turkistan. East Turkistan is the northwestern province in China. And me and my parents and my family, we came to Norway in 2011. About 10 years has passed and we came here as political refugees. And today I'm a student. I'm studying comparative politics at the University of Bergen, and I have my first degree in political economics. And beside my studies, I'm also an activist. I work for the Norwegian Uyghur Committee, and our job is to promote Uyghur situation and the Uyghurs crisis in Norway as a political agenda or a main topic.
Now, I must admit, I didn't actually know much about your home country at all. I had heard about the situation, and with China, you know, being very mean to your people, and I knew about the situation in Tibet. But the things you told me, and I have fact-checked all those things, and yes, I know it's true. I kind of wish it wasn't. But can you tell me a little bit about the horrific things that China is doing to your people?
Sure, there's a lot of things going on in this region, especially in the recent years. There has been documentaries and reports on concentration camps.
Concentration camps?
Yes, which China calls it for re-education camps.
Ah.
And moreover, they've been building forced labor camps, which is the next phase of the concentration camps, where they're transporting or transferring Uyghurs from East Turkestan to other regions in China to work. And there's also documentaries about forced sterilization.
Forced sterilization?
Yes. It means Uyghur women from the age between 18 to 65 has to be sterilized, or they have to do the first prevention for something called birth control.
Yeah, the one-child policy that China used to have.
It has upgraded itself now.
Yeah, they enforce that upon the Uyghurs, right?
Correct. And then there's also documentaries on mass surveillance in East Turkestan. like, all those checkpoints and surveillance camera and facial recognition program and ethnicity recognition program, which is developed by Huawei and some other China's main tech giants.
The things you're telling me, it's straight out of a nightmarish vision of a totalitarian future. Something you would see in a dystopian sci-fi movie. And I think most people, they can't even imagine that something like this is going on. You're talking about concentration camps, labor camps, forced sterilization, which is, I did check this, but I still have problems getting my mind around how people can do this. Here comes the smoke. The smoke is an issue today. But I think and don't get me wrong, but what bothers me most in the way that this is the surveillance, because that has already started here in Norway even, and we know with Chinese companies selling like Huawei, the 5G technology and facial recognition technology, and it's all Chinese. Last time I checked, it was all Chinese, and that should worry everyone who cares about personal freedom.
East Turkestan is home to about 11 million Uyghurs and other Turkic minorities living in that region, including Kazakhs, Uzbeks, and Kyrgyz people, and much else. The region has been under the Chinese control since 1949, a year before the occupation in Tibet. But as you said, people do know about Tibet, but not too many people knows about East Turkestan until the recent years. And Uyghurs, we do have our own language and culture, and most of the Uyghurs practice a moderate form of Sunni Islam. And I think religion is like a part of our culture. It's not like a very extremist type of religious people as China describes us, which is totally wrong. And East Turkestan is also the geographical and historical name of the region, and it is worth to mention because a lot of people look at the conflict today as a religious conflict, but this is not the entire picture, because the region is also very rich for natural resources such as oil and gas and coal, and
always about money.
Yes, it is always about money. And according to New York Times, it is estimated that East Turkestan has about 21 billion tons of oil reserves, and new deposits are being found recently.
It's what we call a blooper, I think, and we also would change places because I noticed I was sitting next to the fire and you were sitting out here in the cold.
The region's rich oil resources has attracted more and more Chinese people in the recent couple centuries, and a migration policy encouraged by the Communist Party has accelerated the whole migration process. So now, before the 1980s, the majority of the people there were mostly Uyghurs and other Turkic people, but today I think the Han majorities are the dominated population.
I'm going to sort out the campfire, and we're going to boil up some water, have some coffee, and we'll get some warmth in us because I think we're both a bit cold now. Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
It is cold today.
It is. It is.
We suddenly got winter, which shouldn't surprise anyone because we are in Norway. But you know, that's. We will have some coffee now.
Sure.
It's a thing on my channel. We have chocolate coffee.
Chocolate coffee.
Yeah. Okay. We talked about a project, a giant project that China has going, which is called, if I remember correctly, Belt and Road. Sounds nice.
Belt and Road.
Belt and Road.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and why it's important? I'm sorry about the smoke again.
Yes, Belt and Road initiative. I mean, East Turkestan is important in this project because of its strategic location and also that East Turkestan is considered as a major logistic hub for Belt and Road initiative. And I think some of your subscribers might be already familiar with the concept. It is a big infrastructure project that China is launching along the old Silk Road. This is nice. Did you make it yourself?
Yes, actually I did, which is possible to see.
Oh.
But okay.
Thank you.
Now it's boiling. It took a while to get the fire going because the wood in the shelter here was not dry, the firewood. So
No, the smoke goes right into my eyes.
yeah, I know. It's I'm sorry about that. Okay, some hot water. Spoon.
Oh, thanks. And you made this yourself too?
I did.
This is so sweet.
So we were talking about before the smoke chased us away, the Belt and Road project, and is it correct to say that they are basically building infrastructure to improve, you know, trade and opportunities and extraction of minerals, oil, and you know, to improve China's financial situation?
Yes, I mean the whole project is kind of meant to boost China's economy and their political power internationally, like globally abroad. But and then it's also pretty, like, you know, China, they usually compare this Belt and Road initiative to the Marshall Plan, which is
To the Marshall Plan,
yeah,
yes.
which is ridiculously funny because the Marshall Plan was given, you know, in the form of grants to European nations, which was mostly affected by the war. But the Belt and Road initiative is a set of loans given to countries that do not have the ability to pay back their loans.
And what happens when they can't pay back their loans?
Well, an example in Sri Lanka shows that the Sri Lankan government had to hand over their land.
Hand over land.
Yes,
Of course.
On a 99 years contract, and yeah, it already happened. They had to hand over the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka to the Chinese government because they couldn't pay back the loans.
Yep.
And this is just one example, and there's also a set of other examples in Africa where it's the same story. And East Turkestan is important in this plan because of its location, first of all, and the resources. Because the plan is to, you know, export all of the resources in this region to the rest of the world and change them into money. And also, geopolitically speaking, it's the biggest region in China, and it borders to 6 different countries. And it kind of plays an important role military as well. I'm not an expert in that file, but from what I read and my knowledge. Yes, it is a region that is critical to China's future development, and this is also why they're like very pressing or violating the people there to keep stability, because people in that region are usually very anti-communist. Before, like as I know, like my family at least.
Your family is anti-communist.
We are.
Yeah, so is my family, by the way.
Yes, and the Belt and Road Initiative was launched in 2013 after the Chinese president, Xi Jinping, visited the capital city.
Winnie the Pooh, we call him.
Yeah.
Because he looks like Winnie the Pooh.
Yes, this man, he visited Urumqi for the first time in 2014, 1 year after the launch of the Belt and Road Initiative, and then 1 year later they started to build the concentration camp, and another year later they started to put people inside.
You know, I've been talking about, the COVID, the
Yes.
pandemic, and especially the degree of tracking apps and all of that is being implemented in all over the place. In Norway it's not mandatory, but in some countries, I think in Europe it's becoming mandatory now to have a tracking app, and there are cameras everywhere. I don't like that, and I suspect that we are moving towards a kind of society where we have less personal freedom than we used to have, and China plays a role in that.
True.
Do you think that's correct?
I think so. I do believe in the same. Because China has been using East Turkistan as a test center for surveillance cameras. China already has the world's largest surveillance network, and it already deploys over half of all surveillance cameras which are already in use. And in East Turkistan, every aspects of people there are monitored by the government, and they use different methods, of course, such as the IGOP app. It is an app that is meant for the governmental officials in that region, and they do collect a set of information of each citizens and residents in that region, such as their blood types and their heights and their religious atmosphere and their political affiliation. And then they use all of those factors to define this person, like how you are a threat to the government.
It's horrible.
It is.
It's like it lacks respect. Of individual freedom, and it provokes me. And I think we should fight this. I think we should fight this evil system, because if anything is evil, that is evil. What you're describing there.
This is totally racist.
The word racist is being thrown around these days for silly things like, stupid things. But that is pure racism.
It is.
So the Chinese actually have a system to recognize, the cameras will recognize the
Yes.
facial features of a certain ethnic group.
Yes, they does. they do. This is totally ridiculous. Like, this all of this IGOP app is based on a report published in 2019, and 1 year has passed, and some new reports are showing how the whole system is expanding itself. And it shows that Huawei, as we mentioned earlier, has developed something called Uyghur Alarm. Together with
Say that again.
Uyghur Alarm.
Uyghur Alarm. That
Yeah.
sounds nice. That
yes.
sounds nice. Oh. It's almost too. Yeah, it's insane. But yes, please go on.
It is like it's very, like from my perspective, it's very sad to look at all those stuff happening there and kind of, getting news about it, getting new informations every day, updating about what's going on, those terrible stories. It's, yeah.
So I have in my notes there, or my notes on your note that you sent me. And as I said, some of this I knew before, and some of it was new to me and shocking. So, face masks. We're not going to talk too much about face masks, but some of the face masks that we get to Norway, they come from slave labor.
Yes.
Or those camps.
Yes, right? Yes, it is. It was reported on the Norwegian media NRK a couple of weeks ago. And first time the whole forced labor documents came out, it was discovered by the Australian Strategic Policy Institute. And then they wrote a report about it, and it says that it was estimated that about 80,000 Uyghurs were transferred from East Turkistan to other parts of China for work. And it is also written that some of them were sent directly from the detention camps. And it also states that the whole campaign, it was a part of the central government policy called Xinjiang Aid.
Yeah.
They are very good at putting a nice name on this kind of campaigns. It is very difficult for Uyghurs to escape from those camps or refuse the work assignments.
And you told me it's even very difficult for Uyghurs to get out of China.
Exactly, it's very hard. Travel restrictions, not even out of China, like you can't probably even travel outside of your city for some reason if you are considered as a mistrusted person.
Yeah, I've heard about the social credit system in China. Yeah. I think most of you guys also have heard about that, and it's truly horrible. And if you ask me, if we don't stand our ground now and defend our freedoms here in our part of the world, that's the direction we are moving. But conspiracy theories and all that. But wait and see.
No, exactly. Yes, and back to these face masks. By the way, the face masks that were sold in Norway in March 2020, it was imported from a company called Røde Productive Group. The company they posted some news and updates on their own website saying that 130 Uyghur girls has arrived to work in the companies, and it was an update, and the journalist found it out from there, and when they started to reach out, they were denying, and
they are lying a lot, these Chinese officials, and I've heard other people say. There is one thing you need to know about the Chinese government. You cannot trust them. They will lie. Safe cities. It's a concept I've heard about, actually. It's the Chinese Communist Party's gift to the world, isn't it? Can you tell us a little bit about it? What is safe city?
China's growing influence is threatening our democracy, and it's leading to a democratic backsliding. And its influence in campaign is usually they have basically two goals. First of all, growing their influence abroad, and secondly, promoting a positive image of the Chinese Communist Party. And what's funny here is that they use a individual diplomatical approach to different country and targeting their institutional weaknesses, and then they export their corrupt economical and political value to the certain countries. And in this case, most of the less democratic countries are pretty much affected, and this is where the Safe City Agreement comes in, because it is an obvious example. It was in 2016 where Huawei has signed a safe
That
city.
name appears, it pops up all the Huawei.
Yes, Huawei all
People
the
are
time.
going, oh, I want a Huawei cell phone.
Yes, it's
We
Huawei
shouldn't
again.
buy anything from that company.
No, it's this company is it's a CCP company. Yes, it was in 2016 where Huawei has signed a safe city agreement with 10 NIT countries, and NIT means nation in transit, and it's a concept used in comparative politics to describe some newborn democracies, and those countries are usually characterized with poor governance or corrupt economical and political system. And this is also a reason why they're mostly affected, because they usually have authoritarian-minded leaders, which supports or has the same ideology as the Chinese Communist Party.
Safe cities is about surveillance, right?
It is about surveillance. Like in Tajikistan and Uzbekistan, for example, the local governments has already installed thousands of cameras in public spaces to monitor events. And in Serbia, for example, facial recognition system and license recognition system is already in use. And I think this should, raise some concern among the democratic world, because it is threatening us, and it is a sign for repression, and it's not only threatening our democracy but also the active civil society that the democratic world has been having for centuries.
And we tend to take that for granted in this part of the world.
Yes.
But we also forget that there are powers out there that seek to take that away. They want total power, and they don't want anyone to speak up and disagree.
Yes, it's like the Chinese kind of idea and the communist kind of ruling system was. You are seeing it in some other parts of the world already, and this is scary.
Yeah, and I think that with the COVID and the pandemic and all that, no matter what you think about the whole thing, the virus and all that itself, I think anyone who hasn't been living under a rock must see that our freedoms are being taken away. Okay, so I want to thank you for joining me out here in the woods. I'm sorry about the weather. At least it's not raining.
Yeah, it's not raining. I live in Bergen, and it's
Lots of
Bergen.
rain in Bergen.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. But not everyone knows this, but it takes a lot of bravery and courage for you, to come here and speak about this. China is everywhere, and they are spying, but it's actually the truth. And it's not without risk that you are doing this. So it is very brave.
Thank you.
Must
Also,
say.
thank you for inviting me and taking initiative. It means a lot for us.
Well, it was a pleasure, and also I think that what China is doing to your people, things like that is happening all over the world. So we need to speak up while we still can, and while we who have this freedom to speak, we need to speak for those who cannot, who are not allowed to do that. Yeah. And that's actually quite important. I think, we shouldn't take that for granted. So, yeah. But, okay, I have put a link in the video description to a website where you can read more about this.
Yes.
And, yeah, so I think that's all for now. Sorry about the smoke. It was not cooperating today
It's
at all.
okay. It's totally fine.
Okay, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah.
And thank you for watching.
Yes. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.